people out there working a ton. I'm just like, why? Like, bro, like take a day off. Like you are killing yourself. Obviously, they all have different goals,
Hmm.
but to what cost? Like, really, at what cost are you putting your body through your own business? Like, you made your business to kind of alleviate or get away from that working all day, and
Hmm.
it's like now you're working twice as more as you were probably working at your full-time job, and it's like if you've been in it already for 3 years, you should already be a point in your life where okay, you should be okay, where you don't have to kill yourself every day.
Yo, what is up, guys? My name is Dustin. I'm the host of the Detail Spot podcast. And in this week's episode, we have on Carlos Serranos with Serranos Mobile Detailing out of Dallas, Texas. Carlos is a super cool dude. We've talked multiple times leading up to this podcast, and I was super hyped to have him on because he brings kind of a different perspective on services such as interior detailing. And so we hear all about how he offers it, why he offers it, and how he makes great money offering this service. So I'm super hyped to show you guys this episode, and I had a lot of fun hanging out with Carlos, and I know you're going to enjoy it as well. And if you're enjoying the podcast or the content that is coming from this channel, if you can leave us a review on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify, it's going to greatly help the channel grow. And if you like this episode, make sure to share it on social media with your friends so that they can enjoy it as well. We're going to go ahead and get into it, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. So, Carlos, how long have you been detailing? And then like what made you get into this industry?
So how long I've been detailing? I started in eighth grade, so back in 2001, I believe. Yeah, probably like 2001. And literally I've been pretty much doing this all my life, I guess. And what got me into this, my family, they all work in the car wash business. So then they were like, well, come and get a job over here part time, and this will be just side money. And that's how it started. And then I actually fell in love with it, and I just kept at it for all these years.
That's cool, man. It is kind of like an oddly addicting trade. Like once you do something, you like want to get better at it. So you just keep like you almost just keep studying it. It's kind of addicting. And I think that's what,
Yeah,
leads us to making it a career, honestly.
for sure.
Heck yeah, man. So you primarily focus on interior detailing, and it seems like you enjoyed being a subject matter expert in that. What made you kind of go that direction with it? There's a lot of guys in this industry that want to do exteriors and they
Mhm.
idolize exteriors, but like you're saying, hey, there's money in interiors. Why are we not
Yeah.
shining a spotlight there?
Yeah, honestly, interiors, well, from the car wash, that's really from the car wash business. Working at this car wash for so many years, that's literally all they put me to do was interiors, right? Obviously, we did focus on exteriors over there, but it is not as in depth as it is as we do out here, like for us mobile detailers or people with shops. Truly, what we learn at a car wash is way different than what you learn like on your own. Um, but I just fell in love with interiors and just getting them from like looking like pretty dirty to transforming them to what they can look. Um, but at the end of the day, yeah, I think that wants to go exteriors because that's where the money's at, right? For me, I don't know. You can make great money just doing interiors alone, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody has their preference, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. I think people get caught up in like the money aspect of it because, like, exteriors, obviously you have coatings now and like you do these things as well. But, like, people get wrapped up in like, hey, on social media, you see these shops doing Lamborghinis and Ferraris. And I think a lot of the average detailers, like, your area may not be able to withhold that. Like, that's kind of a
Correct.
dream, because like you need to be in a really luxury area to get Lamborghinis all day long. But like the
Yeah.
money makers are those average daily drivers. And you're saying,
It's
hey,
your consumers.
exactly. It's like those are the people that, they have the need and the that's where your market is. You need to figure out how to provide your market with what they want. And it seems like you're perfect at that. It's like, hey, my market needs interiors and I'm going to be the best I can at those.
Yep. And if you can really, master the area of interiors, man, it's truly it's a game changer. You can make a great living. Like I tell everybody, yeah, you're focusing on what you see on YouTube. You're focusing on what you see these big shops do, right? I get asked all the time, like, "Hey, Carlos, do you do coatings? Do you do corrections? Because all we see you do is interiors." I'm like, "Yeah, I do all those. I just don't showcase it because to me, to be honest, anybody can pick up a polisher and make the paint shiny, but very few can really make an interior look really, really good. I honestly think it's just it takes a skill set to do that. But I just feel like many detailers, especially the ones who are just starting, they are focusing on what they see on these platforms like social media and YouTube, that they think that that's what I need to do. And then it's like they start their business and then they realize like, shoot, I ain't getting no calls. Everybody's calling me for interiors and I don't want to do those.
Mm-hmm. And you got to pay your dues, right? Like, those guys who have the Lamborghinis in their shop, like these guys don't realize that when they first started 10 years ago, they were doing interiors and you just got to build on that.
And then it's like once they have that, right, then they're like, oh, I don't want to do interiors. Like once they get their shop, oh, now they don't do interiors. And it's like they really forget where they started from. But you do get those that say, man, I never did an interior in my life. All I did was paint correction and coatings, right? But at the end of the day, it's just like you said, you have to pay your dues. You have to get your feet wet to know how to provide all these other services. And I think a lot of people are just failing at that, and they just want to concentrate in the money side where it's like corrections and coatings. That's where the money's at. And they're like, we don't want to do an interior because that takes too much time. I'm gonna get dirty. I'm just like, okay,
You're like more for me then, right?
hey, send them to me. I will gladly do them. The dirtier, the better. And I
Yeah.
mean, I get. I'm not gonna say I capitalize on them, but I can make great money on just interiors.
Mm-hmm.
One
Yeah.
car a day. That's all I do.
That's awesome. And I think people, when they're associating and they're hearing you say interior details, I think they maybe first response in their brain may be like, oh, that's too cheap. Like I'm not, but you're actually charging good money for these. So you're actually making good
Oh
money
yeah,
on doing interiors.
I make a living out of interiors.
That's
It's
awesome though.
just
Cause like,
crazy.
and that's another thing, like, what would you say, cause like whenever someone is doing interiors, like, a common thing would be, hey, like you think that you have to be in that $100 range, but like you're proof that like you can charge three, $400, $500 for an interior if it
Easy.
needs it. Mm-hmm.
It all falls down to presentation. But I think many people disagree to what I've said in the past. It's okay if you start cheap
Mm-hmm.
because the cheap customers are going to give you all the pictures you need of these hammered interiors, and that's gonna build your portfolio to where once you're ready to go to the next level, meaning raising your prices, you're gonna have enough proof to say this is why I'm charging you $400 for my packages because this is how I can leave it, right? And you have proof, you have reviews, and you're knowledgeable in that area to where when you explain it to your customer, you're able to transpire truly what you're talking about. And the customer is like, damn, like this dude knows his stuff. As to a entry level detailer, like they don't know how to explain their packages. They stutter a lot. I remember I started trying to sell my packages, and that led to people saying, "No, never mind, don't worry, I'm okay. I don't want to get it done." But
Mm-hmm.
as I progressed and got better at explaining my packages, literally I was able to capitalize like so crazy. And I never thought I could tell a customer, "Hey, for your interior, this is gonna be $800 because it's really dirty." Right? Now it's like I'm able to charge that price. And though it may seem crazy to some people, to the right buyers, they're gonna pay that because they know that they're gonna pay somebody that's reputable, has the quality, has the knowledge, has the experience in this field to where it makes sense, right? As to others will want to charge what I charge, but the knowledge isn't there and the maybe the finished quality isn't there.
hmm And that's like whenever like I use an example of like a mechanic. Like I'm not a mechanic. If I need my car worked on, I take it to that subject
Hmm.
matter expert. So when they tell me, "Hey, you need an alternator," I trust their word because they're the professional. So when what you're saying is like, hey, when I have the reputation, my brand is there, and I have that experience in doing this. When I give them that price, they trust that that price is legit because I'm a professional business, and the way you present yourself proves that. So they
Yeah,
don't
for sure.
question it, you know.
No,
And
they don't.
yeah, exactly. Like there are they and a lot of times like in detailing as well, like I think me and you talked about it in the past of like, they may call for their businesses before they get to you, and those other guys may have been $150, $200, and then you give them that
Hmm.
$800 price and they're like,
Whoa,
why is this guy?
why?
Yeah.
I need you to tell me why. I will gladly tell you why. And it could be that all the detailers were all providing the same service, but because maybe the way I explained it, it makes more sense to them where they feel more comfortable. A customer will buy when they're comfortable with you. If they don't feel the knowledge or they don't feel comfortable, they're just gonna keep going down the list and let's try this other detailer. And then they find us where we may be higher, but there's a reason why we're a higher cost detailer.
Yeah, exactly. Like you ask them or they ask you even. And when they ask you that, it's almost like a perfect setup for you to like deliver, and build that trust. Like they're like,
Yep.
"Why are you so expensive?" Well, sir, like, we have years of experience. We know exactly what to do, to make sure that you get the best result, and you just lay it out,
Hmm.
your normal spiel, and they're like, "You sold me." So it's a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, it really is, and it just really and like it's a perfect opportunity to showcase really why you're worth that much money, why they were referred to them, right, or why they referred you to you. So it just some people they can stay probably charging the same low rates, and it's like then they get burned out. They're like, man, I'm tired of doing this. Like I don't see a light, or I quit. This isn't working for me. Detailing is not for us or for me. And then I ask like, what's your pricing like? And they tell me, and I'm just like, oh, I already found the reason why.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing is like most detailers I always say this, like I think over half of detailers that will quit or fail at this, it all comes down to their pricing and how much they're making because this is hard work. If you enjoy it, like I
It's
still enjoy
fun.
it. It's fun, but like you need to be paid for it as well. And those two have to go
Yeah,
together, because like you
yeah.
can't do this nonstop and not make what you're worth. If you are wondering how to price your detailing services or your detailing packages so that you actually profit, because in my opinion, the number one reason that detailers either quit, shut down, or fail altogether is because they're not making enough money to where it's worth it. It takes the passion out of this industry or out of this trade if you're not profiting what you should for doing this manual type of labor. I put together a free workshop for you. It's 100% free, and it's going to show you a really simple, coming from someone who's not so great at math. I put together a really simple equation on how you can price your detailing services or packages so that you know 100% if you're profiting or not. And everybody's price is going to be different, but this equation is going to show you personally how to personalize your own packages and personalize your own pricing to match what you want out of your business. So make sure to check that out. It's a 100% free workshop, and the link will be in the show notes if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you're watching or listening on YouTube, the link will be in the description. So make sure to check that 100% free workshop on how you can learn how to price your detailing services or price your detailing packages.
Yeah, there's if you one, you have to enjoy it, and two, you get paid nicely to where it's like it's not a job. It's literally it's just you're working at your dream job every day. I guess that's for me. It's every day I'm working at my dream job.
hmm And you get to do that because, like you said, you do one car a day on average generally. If you're making $300-$400, like that's good for half a day's worth of work, and
Oh
like
yeah,
And I love how you've mentioned this in the past. You literally modified your business to match what you want personally. Hey, I don't want to
Hmm.
work 8, 9 hours a day every day. I want to work less, still make more, and still get to do the things that I like. Because you probably only
Oh
work
yeah,
20 hours a week, but you're still making more than what a full-time job would, you know?
for sure. Yeah, and I transitioned into that route barely, I think, last year, when I had to really kind of sit down and reevaluate, my ultimate goal, which was truly just live a better lifestyle, work less, less headaches, and obviously I did that by taking away Saturdays and Sundays. So now I only strictly work Monday through Friday, usually 10 a.m. to about 12:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. and I'm done. And then I get
Mm-hmm.
to go and enjoy whatever I want to do, right? But when I took that Saturday and Sunday, I actually lost like a big chunk of change. I was like, oh, it's not gonna be much, but then I like did the numbers and I was like, holy crap! And then that that day, I won't forget. I was like, dang, I think I should just continue, working 7 days a week. But then I was like, at the end of the day, I was fine losing that big chunk of change because that gave me more peace of mind instead of trying
Mm-hmm.
to really like work myself to death. Like take 2 days off, I'm okay, and raise my price up a little bit, and that kind of offset this big old loss at the end of the year. And it's
Mm-hmm.
it's literally it's worked out perfectly.
Yeah, what happened was you probably had the clients who were willing to pay you going up in price canceled out the ones that you lost
That were
altogether. Hmm.
Yeah, and I really didn't lose a lot to be honest. Maybe I think at max I lost maybe like 20 customers of the, I think right now it's like 350 that I service.
Hmm.
So it wasn't bad. And I
Hmm.
was like, I guess in a way like, okay, well, it sucks that he left, but at the same time, it's like it made room for the good ones coming in.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is like, and a lot of the things I say may not like make sense to some people because I may preach one thing and then because like one thing I always preach is like, hey, advertise what you want, and I think people correlate that with like, hey, I only want ceramic coatings, so that's what I'm saying, and it's really not. And what I want everybody's business to be like is something that makes them happy. So like with you, you're like, hey, I modified this, modified my business so that it can match what made me happy. Maybe the next person would be, hey, I want to work more, so you can modify that. You get to do that as the business
And
owner.
there's people out there working a ton. I'm just like, why? Like, bro, like take a day off. Like you are killing yourself. Obviously, they all have different goals,
Hmm.
but to what cost? Like, really, at what cost are you putting your body through your own business? Like, you made your business to kind of alleviate or get away from that working all day. And
Hmm.
it's like now you're working twice as more as you were probably working at your full-time job. And it's like, if you've been in it already for 3 years, you should already be a point in your life where, okay, you should be okay, where you don't have to kill yourself every day.
Hmm. And it's an investment too, because like going back to paying your dues, like you are going to work harder. It's inevitable. Like right now, you're at a level that you can say, hey, get it to a point to where you're kicked back a little bit more. But like back to rewind a little bit, you do still have to put in that upfront grunt work. Maybe at first,
Yeah,
the first year to 3 years, you may
yeah.
have to work 60 hours a week and then you can coast later on. So you're almost investing in for it to pay you in the back end.
And which I knew that was gonna happen. I knew that the first, I said it to myself, the first 3 years was the grind work. I had to build my name. I had to build my reputation. I had to get it where I wanted to be. And then by year four, I went from doing 5 cars per day, then I knocked it down to 3 cars per day. And then finally by year five, that was like, all right, we're gonna take it down to 2 cars per day. And then barely last year was more of, you know what, one car per day, raise my price up a little bit, and that literally what I had to bust my butt out for 5 cars, I now do it in one vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. And now it gives you more time to do some of this like training that you're doing now, and
Yeah,
getting to like
it's
invest
crazy.
into some of these guys and like help the industry on that side of it. Because like that's a big thing right now. And it's, you have a lot of information flowing around out there, but like hands-on training, like you're showing, is so valuable. Like, and especially if you're just starting, like getting a polisher in hand and experiencing it like in person, there's nothing else like that. Like you can
Yeah.
show someone online, but like it takes away the feel of it. So like, tell me a little bit more about like what you're teaching in your trainings.
So with my trainings, let's say 1 day training, and what we go over is from entry level with this what a paint enhancement, and then we move up to a 1 step paint correction, 2 step paint corrections, and I usually at times teach like a 3 step like paint polishing correction only. I'll also teach them about spot sanding, and then we end with ceramic coating. Um, and a lot of the time is really teaching them to listen to your machine, because the machine is going to tell you whether you're applying too much pressure, whether you're not working the machine correctly, right, or the machine is not going to spin correctly if you're not holding it correctly. So a lot of that stuff goes into the 1 day class. And it's like a lot of information, but I'm happy that everybody that has come, they're doing pretty good. I think maybe just one, maybe it's not, didn't grasp it correctly, or maybe he's not putting it to work. But everybody else, they're killing it right now. So the class is just really just putting a polisher to your hand, you getting to work with the machine, learning the machine, and literally it's crazy how they go from like a nervous look to like by the end of the class they're like, all right, I'm ready to do another correction. And I'm like, all right, good, right? And we also work on we do role playing. I do a lot of I teach them my way on how I get these results when I do a estimate. So we'll split the panel and I kind of do an area, and this is how I sell my packages. And then I give it to them, and then I want them to sell me their package, right? And then from there we tweak it, and we're like, all right, we'll try this, and this way you sound too lost. Will tweak them a little bit, and then now they know how to sell these packages, and
Mm-hmm.
they're doing really good with this new route that maybe they didn't integrate it into their business, and they come to my training. Like now they're able to close more deals because they're putting those trainings to work.
Mm-hmm. You gave them the foundation, because like it's all like, you're not going to be able to learn how to, take your business tomorrow to six figures or something like that. But you gave them the direction, because that's kind of the hard part.
Hmm.
And I remember me as well, just starting. Like I say it all the time. Like my first year, I had no clue what I was doing, like what step to take, where to go, what direction to go in. And my bank account like showed that, reflected
Yeah.
that I didn't know, but like something like that, it's like, hey, here is the road to go down. You're going to experience some more things that I didn't teach you, but you're on the right road. Hey, here's the sell
Hmm.
strategy that I used, or, here's the how to use the polisher. Like, there's going to be panels that like you still struggle with, but at least now you know how to use it.
Yeah, and a lot of them, when they come, obviously they all leave with a pamphlet, and then in there, I've legit taken the time of writing step by step. If you're gonna do an enhancement, pair it with this product, with this pad, at this speed, this many passes. If you're doing a 2 step, we're gonna try this product with this pad. So there's guidance in that paper. So in
Mm-hmm.
case anytime they feel like, oh shoot, what do I do? Well, go to that paper I gave you, and most likely the instructions are right there.
Yeah. And that's really cool too. Cause like when you get a vehicle in and it's like, all right, I don't know what I'm going to try first. Maybe I can now refer to this reference and say, well, we'll go with this combo that I learned in training. That didn't work. Okay, we'll go to the next combo. That's super
Yep.
cool. Like to have that to refer to, because that's all
Yeah,
paint correction is.
and I feel like a lot of the people that come to my classes, they've already paid like thousands of dollars at this other class, and they're like, "Man, I wish when I went to that class, I wish they would have given me something to guide me." And I'm like, "Well, shit. Well, I appreciate you coming to my class because you're gonna get this, and it's more." I feel like I feel like my class is more hands-on. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have them scratch the panel, I have them create swirls, I have them create hazing, I have them create like the tunnel look from the brushes. We give you all these visuals so that you can see them. Now you know how to fix them in the future. And a lot of people are like, man, it's just crazy how I paid like $1,200 for this class, and I left more lost than anything.
Yeah. And yours is probably more intimate as well because like how many people do you have in your class?
Just just one.
Just one. So it's literally one-on-one training. You're getting my full attention. And that's probably the
Yeah.
difference right there.
Yeah. I mean, I think eventually I want to do like a 5 people class.
Mm-hmm.
That's at max as I would take it. But still, I think the one-on-one, that's why it's a little bit more costlier because it's like it's just you and me. If you mess up, guess what? Ain't no the guy next to you is not gonna see you mess up. They're gonna not. It's just you and I, and I get to see you mess up. I get to correct your issues and literally build your confidence to where you leave my class. You're more like you're ready. You're legit ready to go and sell a hand wax. Like I help them build a package. We make a price, and I'm like, stick to this price, you know. And even though yours is maybe lower, this is the reason why you're gonna start charging this much money, and stick with it. And I'm glad like a lot of people that come to the class, they've legit already the class has paid off already in like the first correction they did. I'm like, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. I like that too. Like going over the pricing, like you're saying, hey, we're not going to start here. We're going to start here, work your way up. By this time, you should have this price. By this time, you should have this one. And it's just showing
Hmm.
like, and I think that's oftentimes the case is we often forget what it's like at year one. So we all will, a lot of times, guys that have been in the industry a while are saying, hey, you're charging too little, but forget that, hey, you were at day one at one time too, and you need to build that
Hmm.
exposure.
And I think that's the main issue. It's a lot of these people, they're like, oh, wow, you're too low. No, you got to put it at this. And it's like, no, you have to let them keep working their pricing, and they are slowly going to raise their prices. Um, because what the pricing that works for me might not work for them right away. And it's the same thing. Get your feet wet, maybe charge cheap for a hand wax, but guess what? You're gonna get a lot of people coming in, and that's gonna get you pictures. It's gonna get you the experience. Your speed is gonna start improving, and then you're like, all right, you know what? Now I'm gonna raise it up another $50, and then you're doing it the same thing, and then boom, eventually you're right at the pricing that a lot of us see, seasoned detailers are at, like 250
Mm-hmm.
for a hand wax or 300, whatever the case may be. But now you're there where you want to be.
Mm-hmm. I was actually listening to a podcast this morning about like mindset and pricing. And the big thing with it is, I was like, there's a thing to where, like, say you didn't come from money and you have a hard time getting your mind to process that you can charge $500 in only 3 hours or $800
Hmm.
because it's hard for you to transition from like not having that and then to having that. So mindset's such a big thing on pricing and in having a guy like you say, hey, if you're having doubts that you can make this type of money, like it's true, like I'm proof that like this does work. Just follow it.
And that's it. Is give it time. And I think many people, they don't have time. They want this to literally be like, all right, I went to this training, and tomorrow I'm gonna start getting all these coatings. Like, no, you have to give it time. It's just like everything. Time
Mm-hmm.
With time comes the experience, and now you have the better knowledge. Like, I don't expect anybody to go leave my class and literally go sell a coating right now, because it would be hard for them to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
But with more time, they start getting more knowledgeable, and they're more comfortable explaining it to the customers, to where the customers like, all right, I feel confident. But if they go right now and try to sell ceramic coating, they're probably stuttering, and the customer's like, yeah, I don't think so.
And that is all like that. Sometimes that comes down to selling is hard, man. And I remember like looking back on just getting that nervous feeling of having a transaction being your goal. So like, it almost feels fake sometimes, like when I sell to a customer, just because like I know here in 5 minutes, with once we get past the small talk, I'm gonna get into, hey, your vehicle needs this, and sometimes it's hard
Hmm.
to get over that speed bump of like,
Yeah,
man, like it's coming up.
like I'm good at opening up. I'm good at doing everything, but every time I think when it comes to the money side, I'm like, all right, this is the part that I don't like talking about. But I think I transpire to the customers where they know, and they're already like, bro, just give me the number. Like, it's
Yeah.
okay. So, all right, so we're looking around like $1,500 for a entry level coating with a correction, and they're like, oh, okay, that's fine. And I'm just like, oh, okay, shoot, I should have set the price a long time ago.
And that was my biggest thing too, because if I wasn't a detailer, I don't know that I would pay for this type of service. Like me
My
personally,
wife says that all the time.
yeah, it's so hard to. There are clients though that aren't thinking like me, and that's the great part about it is like, and a lot of times I think people base their pricing and they base their business around what they would pay for, when the client wants to pay you for that they're the type of person that won't do it themselves, so
Money ain't a problem. They're like, well, here's a blank check. Name your price. I've had that, like, I think that's happened to me like 4 times. And I'm just like, I can't, I can't. I will go through the same scenarios. I don't sell. Like, I can sell, but I hate selling to the customers.
Mhm.
It's more of, I gave you the options. You choose what best fits your needs, your finances. Even though I know they have a Ferrari in the garage, they have Bentley.
Mhm.
It's not about the money. It's more of, I want you to choose what fits your need. It's not what I want to choose. There's a lot of detailers when when a customer tells them, "Oh, what do you suggest?" Trust me, they're going to the highest package right off the bat because that's where the money's at. For me, I don't care if you choose my low end package or the middle package. I just want you to choose something that I want you to feel very happy with purchasing.
Mhm.
And customers are like, "Dang, like I thought you were gonna tell me to get the bigger package." And I'm like, no, like I tell them, if you think it's because of the money, no, like I want you to choose something that you feel comfortable paying. Just because you have high end cars doesn't mean I'm about to freaking shove you with some coating because you have the money. And I think it's always been in the back of my head. It's not about the money. I don't do this for the money. I do this because I love it, right?
Mhm.
And I want them to love it at the end of the day. So the money side is just a bonus, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing. My buddy Evan B, he has a detailing business in California, and he just went from like his garage and just went and got an actual facility now. And his thing, he put a quote up a couple days ago, and it said, it's not about the money. It's about being able to do what I love to do and it fund that for me. Like, it was
Hmm.
worded way better than that, but like, hey, I get to do what I like every day. I get to create my own schedule and it pays for me to do that. It's not about the Ferrari or the Lamborghini. Will those come? Maybe one day and it's cool. But when you're
Hmm.
not banking on it that's when it will come.
Exactly. Some people really want to shove it, like they're trying to force it to get a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or whatever the exotic car is, and it's like, dude, just do some Camrys or do some Kias,
Mm-hmm.
some different cars, and eventually, guess what? Those cars are gonna give you these high-end customers because it's like if you can transform this car into this one here is gonna be a piece of cake.
Mm-hmm.
And like people were like, "Oh, Carlos, you don't do exotics, do you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I just don't post them because to me they're just a car. To be honest, they're they're just like any other car. The only thing that makes them different is they have a more of a higher end emblem. That's it."
Mm-hmm. And I often think, like, back to advertising what you want to detail. I oftentimes think if you're in an area to where it's only daily drivers. Maybe your average income is 70,000, 80,000, which is pretty, like, I feel like average for a good city, a
Hmm.
good wealthy city, but like to get those Ferraris and those Lamborghinis, you need to be in an area to where the average income is like 200,000. So when you're
Yeah.
advertising those Ferraris and those Lamborghinis, I oftentimes think it scares customers away as well.
Yeah, I think so. You lose a lot of business because they're like, oh, he only does exotics, and it's like they won't call you. And probably the dude advertising exotics probably hasn't even done exotics. He just got these from somewhere and posted them on their page.
Yeah. And it's
But
like, you know, I think I would still post it just because, like, it depends on your area as well. Like, I would probably still post the Lamborghini, the Ferrari, just because, like, to us, like when we get one of those, it is cool that like someone trusted us with a
mhm.
200, $300,000 car. But I've always just wondered that theory of like when a customer looks at your page, and I think a lot of times when people are advertising and what they're advertising on Instagram or Facebook, they're not thinking what the customer is thinking. So like when a customer lands on your page, like, hey, what is this guy a subject matter expert in? And I think that's what they're thinking. Like when they're looking at your feed and they see all Ferraris, okay, perfect. He's a subject matter expert in luxury cars. If they see
Mm-hmm.
all interior transformations, okay, boom, this guy's a subject matter expert in interiors. And that's kind of how you want your customer to think, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, like, what are some big plans you have coming up for your training? Like, what are some ideas that you're thinking with that? And then where do you see like Serrano's mobile detailing going in the future?
So honestly, after really seeing all these classes take off, I am legit working less out in the field and doing more classes from home, which is the crazy part. Um, I see the classes side offering more, maybe like a 3 day course. I'm doing a 2 day courses already. People are signing up for that one. But I see the classes maybe I'm hoping like in a shop environment. So they can get like a shop experience. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But my house is it's doing well. You know, they don't mind coming here, which is great. Um, but that's where I see the classes. Maybe just adding something different. Maybe bringing somebody else in here to where they can see their way of polishing, maybe. And where I see my business in the next couple of years is truly, I'm hoping in a shop. I think I'm ready for it. But really, I guess I want to see how I do on YouTube first to really give me an idea of, what kind of income I can kind of play with to where, I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a shop, I would love a shop. But at the same time, it's like I'm scared to fail, which is I think why I have never taken the next step of getting a shop. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like after 6 years mobile, I feel like maybe in the next 2 years, all right, it's time to move up to a shop.
Mm-hmm. And that fear of failure, bro, that's like that's in all of us, you know, like we
Yeah.
and it's hard to overcome that because it's like all
Hmm.
strategic thinking at that point. Hey, how am I going to want to sustain? Because then you sign a lease and then you sign a contract and you're like, I want to make sure I'm truly thinking like, you know,
Yeah.
because in a year, if you're like, man, I want to take less time off now you're stuck with that obligation and you know,
Yeah. Now I have two rent payments.
exactly, man. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, my business is like back to like I worked hard for a few years, worked it up to where it got to a point, and then I wanted to do like like what you were saying. I wanted to step away and like do some other things and focus on like getting to do this podcast. And so I scaled it way back to a point to where it could run on its own. But if I didn't put in those 3 years, like it wouldn't get to that point. But now I'm kind of in that point again to where like I'm in Jacksonville now and I want to get a shop here mainly for like content. I want to do like pretty much a content based facility, but
That's cool.
it wouldn't be like full volume detailing. So like I just got to make sure my income will match that. But back to what you're saying, everybody's got that fear. Like you'll run 50 different scenarios in your head. That's like
Oh yeah.
you know,
How
but
many interior details I need to do to get this thing going?
yeah, 100%. And it's like
Everybody thinks coding wise, they're like, oh, I could just with two coatings, I got it. Me, I'm reversed. I'm like, how many interior details I gotta do to make sure I can pay the rent?
yeah, dude. I mean, that's the thing is like, and especially with the guys that have facilities already and have a shop already, you already have that obligation. Like, this is where mobile detailing is so key. Like, because I've been mobile, I went to a shop, back to mobile, back to shop. Like, I go back and forth. But like, the cool part about mobile detailing is the fact that you don't have those obligations. You don't have the rent. You don't have that lease payment. And being able to be so flexible to what you want to do, that's so
Hmm.
cool to me because you don't have a lot of bills tying you to the
Yeah,
business.
yeah. I mean, I think if I was to get a shop, it would be shop, and then I would have my mobile unit to
Mm-hmm.
where if they can't come to me, then don't worry, I have somebody heading your way right now and take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
I think my dream has always been to have a car wash because that's where I started. I would love to have a car wash and then still have like a side where all the mobile detailers or detailing could be in there. And I have obviously the constant cars going through there, and then I have like my little detail shop. But I know that kind of offsets the reason of why we do things. But literally, I feel like a car wash makes so much sense. I would love like a hand car wash, everything done by hand.
Mhm. Yeah, it's that's what you would want it to be, a hand one, or would you want one with like a machine?
No, mostly hand wash.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and have like a crew.
Yeah, I have like a 6-man crew, and maybe like four in the detailing. That way, 2 people per car, and we're able to knock some details out pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. I've always loved, actually, when I first like I've detailed for 10 years, but like my business now, to be honest, the first year in the shop, we played with the idea of low prices, express services, hand car wash. That was what we actually focused on. We eventually rebranded just because that model is super hard, but I've always loved that vision of like quantity. Like if you can get your exposure out there and you can have a quality team washing, like
Hmm.
that would make way more money. Car wash businesses make way more money than detailing does. Like it's
A
just
lot of money.
that convenience, man. Like you pass on the interstate, like there's so many cars in the city, like, and and a detailing can tap into a percentage of those. Some clients will be willing to pay for a detail, but the other 75, 80, 90% of them, they're a car
They ain't got
wash
no
type of
time.
person.
Yep.
And then the cool part about it is you would have a good mix, like saying, hey, it's still a safe way of doing it. Like it's still a car wash, but like you're getting a hand car wash, which is,
Hmm.
way safer.
Much safer for sure.
Heck yeah, dude. So like if you were to give a detailer just starting or a detailer that's looking to get some traction going in their business, what advice would you give them?
Um, for those who just starting or want to get traction, honestly, is just keep posting content. Get your name out there. And I feel like even a lot of the people that I talk to, they're still in a 9 to 5 job. They're working full time. And then they always tell me like, well, I had a customer call me and I had to decline them because, I couldn't get to them. Right. And I always tell them, even if you're working full time, you post like you're working full time in your business. This way, customers, think or see that, dang, this guy's always busy. Right. And then just move them to your weekend and just say, hey, I got Saturday and Sunday open for you. I'm busy during the week right now, but I can get to you on your day, on his day or the detailer's day off. Right. So honestly, keep posting content, keep working your craft, and not giving up. And I feel like that just happens. They just give up because they don't see truly anything going the right way. And it's like really some give up way too early when maybe the next month was really gonna be like their moment of where they were gonna like take off.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know at one point I was gonna give up, and really like the following month, like everything changed, and since then it's been nonstop. It's just
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Yeah, you said two things that kind of like sparked my attention. Like for one, posting content nonstop, it kind of gets discouraging sometimes because like you see a post and it's all about likes and like and your post may only get 2 likes, but like it, and that's the part to where you can't get discouraged by, because you never know who's seeing it but just not interacting with it. And it's like if that person may see your stuff 10 times, but then on say it's 10 months, on month 11, that person maybe say, man, I just looked at my car today. It's dirty. Like I need to call somebody, and boom, luckily you're consistent and you were posting.
Hmm.
And
Consistency is key.
mm-hmm, 100%. Yeah. Especially with social media, like even in their algorithm, they want you to be using their platform more and more. So like the more you post, the more content you put out, the more they're going to reward you. So like, then they start giving you that engagement. But number two, you said, the oh man, what were you saying? What was the last thing you said? You said post content and
And always post like your work.
yeah, man, I forgot 100% what I was gonna say, but that
Yeah.
was the main one too. I saved it for last. Oh man, I got like my brain went dead for some reason. Gosh, I can't even remember. But yeah, cool deal, man. That was huge. Like that content that's the big part. But like, oh, that's what it was not quitting. Like I quit personally. Like I actually left my business. I was tired of working, not making enough money, and not knowing what to do. I was just like, maybe this being a business owner, like not for me. I actually quit, worked a normal 9 to 5 job, and then like I felt so terrible, like I felt poison, that like I quit my dream and what my vision was. So I went
Mm-hmm.
back, and like you were saying, man, it's like it does just change for you. Your mindset changes, and you never know what client you're going to be introduced to that's going to tell 15 friends. So like your day that's coming could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could be next month, it could be next year, but you're going to be so thankful that you stuck it out in
That you
five
stuck it
years.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Like for me, like my business, for me, I treat my business every day as a all or nothing. Like I have no other resort. I live and breathe this car wash business. I would never go back to another car wash. So for me, it was like I can't fail. Like I gotta succeed one way or another. And like even in the past when I started this business, everything was going so good, right? And then you go through a phase of your business where it is going really, really bad. Long story short, I had my truck and I had a membership to 24-hour fitness. And I got evicted from my home because I couldn't make the payments on the rent, and everything was just going bad, bad, bad. So for 3 months, I stuck it out in my truck. I lived in my truck for 3 months. I would go detail. At the end of the night, I'd come, go shower at the fitness center, and then go back inside my truck, go to sleep, and then repeat it over and over for 3 months. And then finally, like I don't know what happened, and my business literally like took off. So I stuck it out through those storms, and I'm glad that now I'm glad I haven't gotten evicted from a place anymore.
Dude, that's a testimony right there, like of not
Yeah,
quitting.
I couldn't there because I this is all or nothing for me really. Like I have to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
And many times I wanted to quit. Um, and I was like, nope, I have to keep trying. I kept smiling through my storms, and even though I was drowning and drowning and drowning, like I stayed afloat, and I'm glad that after those 3 months, I was able to get back on my feet, get the finances back going, and we're back on right where we left off.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome, man. That's why I love you, dude. It's like the amount of like positivity that you bring, like your authenticity is just there. Like, and that's why, like, I think, when people are at your trainings and stuff, like hearing you talk, like, and just being 100% authentic, like, that's what people want. Like, that's what your customers want. Like, that's what your trainees, the trainer or people coming to attend your trainings, like, I feel like that positivity, that authenticity that you give off, that's what they want. And like, that's why they like your trainings, and that's why they like your services so much.
Yeah, it's crazy, like everybody thinks that we don't struggle as detailers. I think a lot of people just see the good stuff that you post, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
man, this dude must never struggle. And it's like, dude, like if only you knew really how much I was drowning before my business really took off, like you'd be like, dang, I don't want to go through that,
Yeah.
and everybody just sees the good stuff, but they never really ask, like, I want to know exactly your struggles,
Mm-hmm.
right? They all want to know your upcomings, and how are you so successful, but they never really ask you. I want to know really how your struggles were.
Yeah.
Um, and until you tell them, look, I went through this and this and this, they're like, wait, what? So they're like, well, shoot, I think I may be going through this struggle then. And some
Yeah.
people can relate. Some people can tell you, bro, it's funny you say that, but I went through that too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we're not sugarcoating anything. I'm just trying to be real with these detailers and letting them know that, yeah, you're gonna do good, but be ready for those months where you're gonna go through the darkest storms in your life. And if you ain't ready, you're gonna tap out so quick that you ain't gonna enjoy. You're not gonna enjoy the blessings after that little storm.
Yeah. And the rewards are there. Like, and that's the thing. It's like you have to have your vision for this up front, like, and if anyone's listening and you're just starting, your vision for how much this is either going to make you, what it's going to do for your life, like this vision has to be so big because that's the only thing that's going to get you through those rough patches. Like that's the only thing that's going
Hmm.
to get you through either being homeless or not having a lot of money. Like the reward is there. You just have to stick it out, try things. Those things may not work, and then try another thing. And once you start trying enough things, like things will start to work. You'll start to meet the right people because all business is like how many people you know. Like that's
Hmm.
all it really comes down to is how many people know about your services and know that they're good services. So the more that you
Hmm.
encounter people, the more that you're going to have success. And that just takes years sometimes.
Yep. Unfortunately, it does take time, but you just gotta be patient. And, like you were saying earlier about the likes, yeah, if your post doesn't get likes and a heart or whatever, that's okay. You're not doing it for the likes. I never post for the likes. I post it because I feel like this is something that is valuable to someone out there. It may not be for everybody, but somebody out there is gonna relate to this post or they're gonna relate to what you post. And literally, you did your job, right? We don't do it for the likes. We just do it because we want to educate or show people out there what we're doing, and that one like is literally that's fine with me if I don't get a like. Like even on my YouTube channel, if not a lot of people see it, that's okay because I know that my channel is not the greatest and it's not meant for everybody. And for those who do watch it, like, I feel like it's a blessing for them.
I like your channel and I like all that you do. And it's back to like, I was trying to explain how like authentic you are. You show the step by step. Like right now, you're doing trainings out of your house, but it's not about like where it's at. It's about what you're teaching and you get your full attention. And it's like, hey, you saw me, I started my trainings at my house. Like in 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, even maybe you upgrade to a facility. Like you showing you in your beginning stages, I think are like with the trainings and stuff and showing people, hey, this is what I have now. Like, and just showing that throughout the stages. I think it's killer, man. I think like people vibe with that a lot more.
Yeah, and like I think like people like a lot of them always say like, man, I remember when I saw your first video, it looked horrible. And I'm like, well, thank you, right? And they're like, but now it's like you're more comfortable in the camera, like your voice sounds much clearer. So I made like these small changes to better the channel, but it's still like the same channel. I just had to make like an adjustment with the microphone because everybody couldn't hear me, right? But everybody's like, dude, it's crazy. Like seeing you grow on YouTube, it's really cool. And you haven't changed, right? Like I guess they're like some YouTubers change because now they're making a lot of money on YouTube and now they're not the same anymore, and it's like I'd rather live broke and be the same person.
Yeah,
Or
for sure.
even if I had the finances, I think I'm still gonna be the same because money doesn't move me. Because I've
Mm-hmm.
been at the bottom. I tell people I've been at the bottom, and that's how I treat my life every day. I'm at the bottom. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm no
Yeah.
better than you, and probably you're better than me.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like I tell my wife all the time, like, I'd love to have a Lamborghini. Like my dream car is an Acura NSX. Like I want one day and I will get one day. Like I'm in that manifest stage. But I told her, I was like, I want the darkest tinted, the most tinted windows. I don't want anyone knowing it's me that I have it. And I want to daily drive a straight up, beat up Civic or something, just because
Yeah,
like I want those things and I want to have those things, but like I still want to hold strong to like my roots.
always, always. And I tell everybody, be humble, be kind, because that's really what's gonna take us in the long journey ahead of all of us. It's, if you don't change, you keep the same person you are. In the long run, people are gonna be like, "Dang, like, he hasn't changed. No matter what success he has, he's still literally that same person we met a long time ago."
Mm-hmm. And that's the cool part is like you'll have those guys that stuck with you throughout your from day one because
Hmm.
you're keeping that authenticity, you're keeping that you're just keeping it real, man. And people want to see real. They'll sniff past it if you're not. And like, and I think that's what's so cool. And that's why I like really enjoy just getting to like chat with you. Like I know we did a live with Eric not too long ago.
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
just getting to hang out with you guys, like some of the realest guys within the industry, man. And it's a lot of fun. And this podcast was a lot of fun, dude. And how can people find you? Like your YouTube, your Instagram, Facebook?
Um, yeah, pretty much on Facebook, I'm under Serranos Mobile Detail Services. Obviously, I have my own page, Carlos Serrano. On YouTube, under Serranos Mobile. And then on Instagram, Serranos Mobile Detail. Never hesitate if you guys have any questions. I mean, if I can help, hey, I'm all for it.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. This was a good episode, man. I had a lot of fun.
I had fun. Yeah, it was really fun.
That is it for this episode of the Detail Spot podcast. We had on Carlos, and I had a blast hanging out with him and just chatting it up and hearing his perspective, how he started and what his day to day looks like, and just how he profits overall as a business. So it was a lot of fun hanging out with him. I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. And if you did, make sure to share it with some of your friends on social media so that they can enjoy it as well. And if you're enjoying the content that's coming from this channel and you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure to leave us a review. It's going to greatly help the channel grow so that we can reach more detailers. And if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to drop a comment of a topic or a question that you may have that you would like discussed on a future episode of the Detail Spot podcast. So that is it, and I hope to catch you on the next episode.